We all know the $1,000 isn't what matters. What's fun is laughing right back at these psychopathic bastards and telling them that we know exactly who they are and exactly what they're doing and exactly what's going on in their souls and that we see right through their facade. You know why they call him the Joker? Because it's a big joke to them that they're poisoning your water supply and that your children are deformed and get cancer when they're 10 years old. Because it's a big joke to the New World Order, all the things they're doing to you and how childlike you are and how much fun it is. Ted Bundy talked about how much fun it was picking up teenage girls and torturing them to death and ripping their teeth out with pliers over days as they begged for their lives as he bit big bloody chunks out of their body. You little kids like to go to movies and see some drug addict hippie acting tough and acting scary. The truth is, what's more wicked than that is DynCorp kidnapping millions of women and children and taking them into slavery, and nothing's being done to them. That's what's funny. What's funny and why the Joker's laughing all the way to the bank is because the more they abuse you, the more you enjoy it, just like the Stockholm Syndrome. And so that's why the joke is on you. And that's why it's going to continue going on week after week, month after month, year after year. The joke's on you. What's scary? Somebody in some clown makeup? Because that can get your attention. That freaks you out at a primitive level. Nightmares out of your subconscious. But you're not afraid of some gentlemanly, middle-aged man who sits there talking with a sweet, calm voice, but tremulating with power and dark gulfs of death. When they write in Eco-Science, the National Science Czar's own government policy book, how they're poisoning your water supply, how they'll take all children at birth and raise them in government dormitories and do medical experiments on them, and how they'll bring in total tyranny and put implants in your body to control every facet. You know what's funny? Even though this book's free online at major university websites, you little bastards out there are going to go watch your TV and your movies, and you're going to sit there and laugh at me right now and not check any of it out. Oh, yes! That's what's so funny about it all. All you men out there who like to wear the trappings of death and destruction and like the violent video games and the ultimate fighting and the culture of the macho, and you think death and destruction's cool. Meanwhile, you piss your pants at the sight of a cop. You bow and scrape to the government. You do whatever you're told, and they're laughing. Legions of jokers in uniforms. Legions of jokers out there in their fancy costumes that get your attention, and you sit there and you submit to them. You love it. Well, we're going to give Barack Obama's controllers what they want. That little narcissistic creature is nothing but a slick Harvard lawyer reading off a teleprompter written by the best speech writers in the country. How to scam you, how to bamboozle you, how to defraud you of your future. And you love it. You cheer him all the way, just like you Republicans cheered George W. Bush. Now, that was a joker that didn't need any makeup. That was somebody whose soul and spirit shined right through to the whole world. And if you watch Barack Obama, he's looking more like the Joker every day as he becomes angry and as he realizes his fraud isn't working anymore on the people. The fun is leaving his face because he was groomed and set up and readied to simply be the primer to bring in a fascist government in the next administration or the administration after that. It was all a mind game. You were meant to learn he was a betrayer. You were meant to learn he was a fraud. You were meant to learn that he was a servant of the New World Order because the elite are throwing it in your face. But I'll tell you something, the image put up in Southern California by some activists of Barack Obama and his fake, self-assured look in his eyes. He enjoys conning people. He enjoys manipulating people. He enjoys scamming people. He loves the pimp game. He loves defrauding the bitches. He loves slapping them upside the head and having them beg him for more. He loves the fact he's betrayed you on saying he wouldn't hire any lobbyists and saying he'd end warrantless wiretapping when he expanded and saying he would end secret arrest and snatch and grab and detention. And now all he's done is expanded it to unlimited snatch and grab and detention. He loves the fact that he's expanded the wars. He loves the fact that he's conned you and that he's winning and dominating you, because at a primitive level he enjoys it. But his masters up above him, they're going to enjoy destroying him politically, as Barack Obama, like George W. Bush and Bill Clinton before him, take the blame for the agenda of the elite. So I'm telling all of you out there, let's give them what they want. They like the fact that their true image is being revealed, but we're going to give them more of it than they could ever imagine. All across the United States and the world, people are already visiting Infowars.com and going to the $1,000 Barack Obama prize page and printing off all the free flyers and plasticering them all across the United States, all across the world. We're going to give them something to cry about for a change instead of laughing at the way we live. The elite laugh at the troops that serve them and take the deadly vaccines. The elite laugh at them breathing the depleted uranium and coming home and dying. The elite laugh at all these mercenaries that serve them and then are destroyed. The elite laugh at the jail guards they hired to take to Afghanistan and Iraq, who after they were done torturing children and their mothers and fathers, they then convicted the very people that followed orders. That is funny to the elite, because the Joker loves burning one group of people more than anybody else. The Joker loves dominating and controlling other criminal groups. It loves building them up and then destroying them, tearing them apart. And so all of you would-be psychopaths and all of you would-be killers out there that think you know evil and think you know that it's beautiful and wonderful, I want you to look out there upon the Joker's thugs, the Joker's men, the Joker's mod squad, his goon squad, his brown shirts. Look at them out there. They're pathetic, just like the Joker himself is pathetic. And that, my friends, is the reality. All of you that buy into evil, all of you that buy into corruption thinking it's cool to screw somebody else, are going to be screwed by somebody bigger and badder and more evil above you. And there's nothing cute and funny about what's happening in this world. And it's run by very dark, very serious, very focused psychopaths. And they laugh in their memoirs. They laugh in their public publications, like David Rockefeller 4 years ago in his autobiography, written by him. His memoir, where he says, I want world government. I want to destroy national sovereignty. I'm guilty as charged. Then they laugh and go on the news and tell you there's no such thing. They laugh as the very banks that have stolen $23.7 trillion in the last 10 months in a bipartisan scam sit up there as your financial saviors, telling you they need tens of trillions more. Then the Federal Reserve pays the private banks not to loan to you to further destroy the real economy as it's consolidated and put into their hands. And the criminal jokers that run this society, the criminal jokers that control this society in New York and Chicago, taking their big city mob system nationwide and worldwide, love the fact that they've disarmed many of the American people. And in the cities where they've taken the guns, they have the highest crime rates. Then they advertise those high crime rates as a pretext to disarm more of the people in the country so they can be slaves, so the establishment can have their way with them. This is the reality, ladies and gentlemen, because these psychopaths want to have their way with you. The very banks, the very elite families that play different factions off against whole nations and whole peoples, they are in control of this country now. They funded Mao to kill over 60 million. David Rockefeller wrote an op-ed piece for the New York Times bragging about it and how much he loved Mao. They brag about how they funded Hitler. They brag about how they funded eugenics. They brag about how they funded Lenin and Stalin, who killed tens of millions, giant sports stadiums, hundreds and hundreds of sports stadiums filled with hundreds of thousands of people per stadiums. Think of that equivalent. That's a lot more evil than somebody in a movie going, I'm afraid the commissioner's going to be killed. All this crap. Real evil's all around you, and it's in fine suits with perfectly cut hair, with people trained at Ivy League schools how to lie to you and how to use programming and how to control you. It's time to wake up and get involved and stop letting them laugh at you. Stop letting them sit there and sneer. Oh, the police in black uniforms and the cameras and the CPS in England and Texas and other major countries and states openly saying they're going to put cameras in new parents' homes, guilty until proven innocent. And Homeland Security and Northcom and the military are now for the American people. And the DHS reports say it's no longer for Al-Qaeda, which is openly run by the New World Order. And those jokers, they're laughing all the way to the bank on that. Even as the FBI and decipherers, the code breakers come out like Sybil Evans and tell you it's all staged and tell you bin Laden worked for the United States government right up to 9/11. Or the government ran drills of flying hijacked jets in the World Trade Center and Pentagon on the morning of 9/11 to confuse NORAD as decoys. Or how the British government ran drills of bombing the exact same bus and trains at the exact same time, exact same location on 7/7. That's the Joker laughing at you in your face. Let me tell you what the Joker is, laughing at all of you slaves out there. It's when Rupert Murdoch and the X-Files with the Lone Gunman spinoff 6 months before 9/11 puts out an episode where the government hijacks a jet by remote control, uses a NORAD drill to make NORAD stand down, and is going to blame it on Afghanistan to start a new war on terror. And they put that on TV. And then I even talked to Dean Haglund, who was in the show, and he said the CIA came to them and planted that story on them and said they wanted that in a made-for-TV show. Now, you tell me if that isn't a joke. There's nothing you people won't take. There's no amount of abuse that you don't love. There's no amount of slavery that you won't take. I remember Hillary Clinton a decade ago was asked on television what her favorite book was, and she said 1984. And you know why she said 1984? Because that's what they're planning to do to you. Aldous Huxley wrote Brave New World in 1933 about a THX 1138 drugged nightmare with shaved heads and CPS raising all the kids in dormitories. He came out in 62 and he said, this was actually our plan. My brother runs the UN UNESCO. We're really going to do this to you early in the next century. It's all real. They all brag. It's so funny to them what they're doing to you. They enjoy it. They like it. And they like hearing about how they're doing it. So like I said, let's go to every town hall meeting they're having and tell them that we don't want their carbon tax. And you talk about jokers. They're telling you what plants breathe. What is the life-giving gas of this planet? Carbon dioxide is listed as a toxic waste like acid. Not even the Joker could come up with something that asinine to feed the slaves, but the public takes it. They love it. They enjoy it. And it goes on and on. The more outrageous Congressman John Conyers comes out and says it's bad to read the bills. Written by foreign lobbyists stealing everything you've got. And they come out and lie to you and say that the health care bill doesn't take over health care and won't run your life, and you buy that. There's nothing you people won't buy. There's nothing you won't give into. There's nothing you don't love. And I was talking to a radio host the other day, a TV host named Max Kaiser. And you know what he told me? He made a good point. And the point's been made many times by many other people in history. Thomas Jefferson, that terrorist to the jokers. That all that evil men and tyrants need to flourish is the good men and women do nothing. Or as Einstein put it, the most evil people in the world are there, but they're not the real danger. The danger is the people that will do nothing. There's always going to be evil, corrupt, slick-talking New World Order trash and control freaks. And the reason they've taken over our world is because we became lazy and decadent and soft and got in the position of deciding that accepting corruption was okay when it's not. When it's not okay, unless you want to get hurt real bad. Unless you want to be absolutely dominated and enslaved. It is time for all of you to decide what you're going to do. There's three kinds of people in this world. There's people that know about the evil and decide to fight it. There's people who know about the evil and decide to join it. And there's the people that don't know about the evil, and they're the vast majority, and they're completely stupid and mindless and idiotic, and they're used by the wicked small minority to dominate and go after the evil's main enemy, and that is the awake good people. And if you could only understand the mind of the enemy, the mind of the elite, all the horrible things they do to you. You know, I didn't realize the elite's a joke till years ago. I'd never really even seen the first Batman. And they've got one of the characters in it. I think it's even the Joker. And he's poisoning different cosmetics as binary weapons that then mix together to poison people. And then he's got a drug company that sells them the cure. And in that very speech in that, they've got the famous actor in there. Before he talks to him, he says, yeah, just like we staged the Gulf of Tonkin and other terror attacks. And then the villain goes, yes, well, now I'm poisoning the different products. And when they combine them together, it poisons them. That was people 15 years ago or whenever that movie came out.
Where can I get these fine new items? Well, that's the gang. Chances are you bought them already.
Love that Joker.
Love letting you know the jokers love the little inside joke. They enjoy it so much. It's so good that you will be cowards and lie to yourselves and decide that this isn't real. But for those of you out there that don't think this is a joke, for those of you that understand the criminals are running the asylum and that they want to have a blood feast on us like they had in communist China, 60+ million, and Soviet Russia, 50+ million, and Hitler, 40+ million, total dead, including 20 million Germans. If you want to be part of this blood feast, you are invited to dinner, but on the table like a suckling hog. If you don't want to be part of this, you got to get active and aggressive. And the scumbag psycho elites don't like what's happening because they're not just hunting us and our water and food now and openly announcing they're terraforming to cause droughts and floods to run us into submission to them. They're now getting scared because all over the world, from China to France to England, from Canada to the United States, finally the drugged out, brainwashed masses are going to every town hall, Republican and Democrat, and shouting them down, and Obama's goons, his thugs, his Joker crew are beating him up and screaming the N-word as they beat up blacks that don't serve Obama, the eugenics master. And the people are rising up and saying no, and the United States is on the verge of peaceful revolution. And so the elites are going to try to, why do you think they've geared up this giant police state and this giant grid? Why do you think they're going to use the stage flu outbreak as a pretext to bring in martial law and control if we don't get the word out and stop them? Oh, yes! Oh, it's your choice out there what you're going to do. It's your decision if you're going to be part of this. Get out there and get these flyers and get them out to everybody you know right now. Plaster them everywhere. We'll see how the New World Order and how the establishment likes that. And go out to every city council meeting. Don't just go to these congressman meetings. Go to city council where it's live on cable and live on TV. And go to public press conferences of the governors. And go to the mayor's press conferences. Look on their schedules. Show up everywhere. Don't let them put out their facade, their clown makeup, that everything's funny and okay when it's not. Don't let them sit there and run their scams. Go to all their events and peacefully, as your right, as free human beings, take over those events with truth and justice. There's more of us out there than there are of these little bastard jokers, these little weak, greedy bastards that want to control the whole future of society and destiny. Go to Infowars.com and click on the big banner that says the Obama Joker contest. And even if you don't win the contest, you win in the Infowar. Spreading the word, getting involved, and playing a joke on them for once. Oh, yes. Oh, I love it. Oh, it's so good. Look at them out there. You know how things will end for them. Oh, yeah. I'm feeling good tonight. I just want you to know that right now. I'm feeling real good right now. And I'm loving every minute of it, standing up against these jokers that think it's funny and think what they're doing's good. 'Cause I can feel the sleeping giant rising up to smash them. I can feel the dynamic human spirit that refuses to submit to these weak, pathetic control freaks rising up. For the joke is on them! The joke on them! It's all on them! It's all on them! All of it! All of it's on them! All of it's on them! Every stinking bit of it! Every little bit! Oh, God! Oh, I'm getting a little hot here! I'm getting a little wild here! I don't know what to do! Oh, it's so much fun. Oh, yes, the New World Order's going down. Oh, get out there and get fired up. Let these bastards know we're human. Let them know we're not submitting to them. Oh, yeah, go back to retransmission. Go back to retransmission. And then get out there and let them know that you're not their slaves. Let them know that you're not going along with their propaganda. Let them know you're not drinking their water and eating their GMO sterilization food. Let them know you've broken their spell. Let them know you see through their fancy teleprompters and all their lies. And let them know you're a human being who's standing up against them and that the laugh is on them.
So in short, this film is a establishment fever dream, a hallucination, and really a window into their minds that they're unhappy with society, they're unhappy with themselves, and they want to go out and basically engage in mass murder and psychotic behavior to fulfill themselves because nothing else fulfills them. And it couches all of this in a position of the corrupt establishment of white people deserve to be killed and taken out, and they're the ones that cut off all the funding to the psychiatric systems and all the rest of it. So now they deserve to be murdered. They deserve to be killed. When Hollywood and the Chicoms and the EU and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers are the richest people on earth and are the ones waging war against the family and against society, because in their own white papers they admit they're trying to collapse society to then build on its ashes the new transhumanist world where they merge with machines and become these gods. I mean, this is truly the stuff of Heaven's Gate, Hale Bop, cult stuff, Jim Jones, Charlie Manson, the same helter-skelter, insanity, demon possession, call it what you will, over and over again. And just as I predicted a month ago in my breakdown of the film, only when you become the beast man and then you go out and just turn yourself loose on the general public in senseless, wanton killing will you be worshipped, will you be a god, will you be accepted into the new society that represents burning cars, burning buildings, dragging police out of their vehicles and killing them. But again, the Illuminati doesn't want to overthrow things forever. They ran the French Revolution on record. George Washington talked about it, wrote about it. It's the National Archives. You can read the letters online. They were just overthrowing the existing order to bring in something far worse where they would be absolute kings, and there would be no rules for them, but total and absolute control for everyone else who would be slaves. The Joker is an authoritarian poison, an attack on Western civilization, an attack on the Christian Renaissance ethos that made us the wealthiest and strongest nations on earth. Now the sickness has already taken control of the system and is now seeking to burn it all down because it's projecting onto the system its own self-loathing and hatred for itself. And as all psychopaths end up trying to be caught, it's acting out and being more and more extreme in the hopes that order will finally be returned, that the sun will finally rise again and burn away their vampiric hell they've created in the ruins of the once great civilization. This movie is sickeningly in love with itself. It worships deformity and ugliness and fallenness, children being tortured, women being tortured. No one's good. Everything is ugly. Well, when you read what the CIA put out in the 1950s and 60s that's now declassified, they said, we want ugly buildings. We want foreboding. We want depression. We want people to feel small. We want them to give up. That's declassified. They wanted to force ugly art and ugly culture on the people because the leftist robber baron funded foundations that took over U.S. intelligence are, again, very sick deviants. Well, history's replete with elites, whether it be in China or Japan or Africa or Europe or Mesoamerica, always becoming insane, always desiring bloodletting, always desiring torture and death until anarchy reigns and civilization collapses and a new ethos of stoic hard work, and ethics then grows out of its ashes. These individuals nihilistically worship the final phase in the life cycle of a civilization, but believe that if they can rule and control the steering of the collapse, they will emerge on the other sides as the rulers. And that is the final message of the film, where Joker stands in the middle of the burning city as men, women, and children and police are being killed. And he's finally worshipped by the hordes of thugs ready to carry out his every order. And so Army intelligence was right to be concerned about this film being designed to trigger incels to go out and commit mass shootings, just like the two we saw in Texas and Ohio recently. They're being told this is sexy, this is romantic, this is cool. And they're being told this is an option for you and you should carry it out. This film is a sickening, ugly hate letter to humanity. And the disgusting satanic narcissism displayed by Joaquin Phoenix makes it basically impossible for me to ever watch any of his other films, because he's now typecast as the thing living inside of him, the fallen, twisted beast that simply wants to tear everyone else apart. Now, I want to, in closing, play a very important short report that is posted on Infowars.com that I hope you'll share. Spooks turned media spokespersons, U.S. media now filled with former intelligence agents, and the reporter that breaks this down does an excellent job showing how the corporate media is openly run by bipartisan operatives from the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, and other new ruling class systems. But the truth is they've always been running the media in this country through the Mockingbird system, but because that system's failing, they as the upper management are running into the wheel of the ship, to the rudder of the system, hoping they can get it back on track in this devastating storm. And so I want to finish off with this to remind everyone it's not just cable news. It's not just the Sunday news shows. It's not just the newspapers that have these intelligence agencies running them. It's Hollywood. Chris Carter went public and said the CIA, a year before 9/11, told him to produce an X-Files episode for the Lone Gunman spinoff where the government hijacks jets by remote control to fly them into the World Trade Center to blame Al-Qaeda to launch a new world government on its ashes. Think about that. Chris Carter invited me out to meet him in L.A. a few years ago. I got too busy. We never got the meeting consummated, but I think I should reach out to him again. But regardless, ladies and gentlemen, these aren't intelligence agencies doing this. These are the criminal multinational corporations that got control of them and have used the National Security Act or total secrecy to carry out their criminal operations in the dark. The perfect incubator for the type of societal collapse we're seeing, because if we have righteous, upright, strong, honorable, focused people that actually know about history, then we won't be slaves to these puppet masters. But if we can be turned into bestial, dumbed down, lazy, hateful individuals, and then told that it's beautiful to be a beautiful loser, then they're going to be able to mobilize the mobs, feeding off the carcass of our once great republic, to take over America and set up not a communist utopia as they're wishing, but really a high-tech fascist system of planetary world government. I want fans particularly of dystopic, nihilistic death porn like the Joker to understand something. You can turn back from your fascination with death, the macabre, Satan, and glorification of being a loser if you want to. You're not really a loser. Sean Parker, one of the co-founders of Facebook, and others have gone public and said they designed all of this to make you depressed, to make you alone. Again, it's in Hillary Clinton's own WikiLeaks. The whole system, Google, Apple, all of it is to make you alone. It's to make you desperate. It's to make you unhappy. And then to only believe that that digital relationship with those avatars and those bots is your reality. This is a 21st century weapons system conquering you. You're not going to be fulfilled hurting your body, getting into degeneracy, or hurting others. You're going to be fulfilled going out and exercising, hiking in the woods or the mountains, or going out and helping people less fortunate than yourself, actually in the streets, at soup kitchens or at churches. That will empower you, that will fulfill you, and you will find good, loving people in your area who have already been through what you've been through and who found God. You're not going to find God in these fake churches. They're designed to make you rebel against God, but there is a fight between good and evil. I have been invited to join the establishment. I've been at the highest levels, and it's soulless, it's unhappy. And those of you living in areas of New York or LA or San Francisco or Portland or downtown Austin, where it is soulless, need to geographically move out of those areas and need to spend less time online and less time in the echo chambers and more time getting other people out of it. And I swear, if you'll just try it, you will end up finding the light again. But this film is meant to glorify just wallowing in despair and then organizing uprisings and riots all over the U.S. that we know George Soros and his son and others are funding. We know they're funding the Islamic invasion of Europe. All of this is to topple the West, because if we ever rediscover the truly liberal Western Renaissance ethos, then we will be able to defeat this new technocracy dark age. That's why Soros calls his groups the Open Foundation and the Renaissance Foundation, because they're actually trying to destroy and dynamite that escape route that has led the world so far out of the dark ages, and the system is trying to detour us back into it. So do not let them trick you, beguile you, hypnotize you, seduce you into a trance to fall in love with the demons that want to run your life. Reject those demons. Ask God into your life, and you will find the real road.